issues. Is there any change in these ones?
We have to pay more attention to what is happening between Russia and Ukraine, because it seems that there is some escalation, and so we have to pay extremely attention. And so this is the main point I see. Otherwise, there are a lot of protests, a lot of manifestation in many countries in Europe against the governments for the clever decision they have taken and creating these insane situations. So, so more than ever, the European Union is in danger to explode.
Well, you get that. It's all the
I would like to see the European Union exploding.
Yeah, but you're a contrarian, you Saviour. So okay. So what should I say here? Whereabouts is it?
Watch for possible. Yeah, watch for possible escalation.
Okay, sure, that's cool. And what we're going to go through now is the rest of the NewsWatch. Figure out what are the important news for the day. Go through the top pairs list, and then Eusebia will do some magic and match up the news with the top pairs that we've got, and come up with a smaller selection for each day, so that you aren't having to go through a whole pile of pairs that you need to carry on monitoring. And one of George's questions is asking, will impact on this as well, with a bit of a hint to sort of say, hey, these are the pairs that you could be monitoring. And there's even further thing from Eusebio is, and it's just for the maxes, I won't show it here because this is probably going out to the public, but he also has a global outlook for the week for various pairs and currencies, to say, while these are the pairs that you should be monitoring, these ones are likely to be moving in this particular direction based on blah, blah, blah. So even more detail. And the next step from that, if you wanted to, you could subscribe to Eusebio's Pair Bias, where he gives out his daily updates, sort of updated whenever it's required through the day, to give you a good direction on which direction various pairs are moving in. And that's his Pair Bias Advantage, which is a subscription service on a monthly basis. And the benefit of tapping into that is, while our regular sort of, say, 5-minute setups are good for, say, 60 to 80% win rates, if you're using his Pair Bias Advantage with it, it pushes it up around 90+% win rate. Okay, and let's move this out of the road and come back over to the news. Right, got all these pages that I've got to find. So I want that one, and I want this one. Okay, so we're looking at the coming week, and go, Eusebio, it's all yours.
Okay, so first of all, we can ignore all the speeches we have this week. There are some of them, so this week. So on Sunday, know that it is a bank holiday in Japan. This is important. So on Monday, bank holiday also in UK. I will monitor the Euro-German Bundesbank monthly report.
Yep.
I will also monitor the Yen National Core CPI year over year, and the Aussie meeting minutes, so monetary policy meeting minutes.
Okay, done.
By the way, Monday I will not produce the bias. For the London session, UK is on bank holiday, so there will be no movement. And in the afternoon, I have my two times a year, I have my appointment with my cardiologist to make some checkup of my heart. So Tuesday, we have the Swiss trade balance, all-time frames.
Yep.
Euro current account, all-time frames.
Yep.
CAD CPI, all-time frames.
Yep.
And core CPI also month over month, so all-time frames. US dollar housing start, I will monitor that. The housing start report is a good indication in USA to see if the economy is showing some signs of recovery or not. Kiwi GDP price index, all time frames. Usually the GDP price index is released around or sometimes until after the Wall Street Open. And that's it for Tuesday. Not
the MI?
Sorry?
You're not going for the Aussie?
No. Okay. It is the MI leading index. So the leading indicators, the leading report are not interesting.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm getting mixed up with M1 money supply. Okay. Anyway, I make things up. Next one.
Okay. Wednesday, it's a big day, Wednesday. So we will have monitor the German 10-year bond auction.
Yep.
Monitor the US dollar crude oil inventories. Then a big one with the Fed, of course, the FOMC economic projection, the FOMC statement, the federal funds rate, and then the FOMC press conference. Note that it is expected to have a 75 basis point, but there is a probability, not a very big one, but still a non-neglectable probability that the increase in the interest rate may be 1%. I'm not sure, but there is that possibility. Anyway, so big day Wednesday. We have also the Kiwi trade balance all-time frames. And then we have the second big one with the Bank of Japan, so the monetary policy statement, the Bank of Japan policy rate, and then the press conference. I will also monitor the Bank of Japan core CPI year over year.
Just monitor, okay.
Yeah. And then Thursday, we have another very big one too, with two central banks, the Bank of the Swiss National Bank and the Bank of England. So we have the Swiss SNB monetary policy assessment and SNB policy rate and then press conference, so high impact. I will monitor the ECB economic bulletin. And then we have another big one with the pound. Can you scroll down the Forex Factory page, Chris? So with the pound, the MPC official bank votes, the monetary policy summary, the official bank rate. And it is expected 50 basis point rate hike. Then we have, I will still continue to monitor the US dollar unemployment claims. Then we have the US dollar current account all-time frames. Monitor the US dollar natural gas storage.
Yep.
And so monitor the pound GFK consumer confidence.
Okay.
I know that it is again a bank holiday in Japan.
Good place to live.
Yeah. And on Friday we have, let's see, we have the card curve retail sales month over month and retail sales month over month under H4. And that's it.
Okay.
And there is the daily saving time shift, so in New Zealand on the following weekend.
Okay, and let me see, just something, well, okay. The reason that we go through these is so that you can have an idea on what times, what news events to avoid. Forex Factory, as you can see, has got a whole pile of stuff in it, but not all applies to the foreign exchange, and not all the red and the yellows and the oranges and the whites actually match up with what importance they are. So what we've done here is we've shown you items to monitor, items, it doesn't matter what time frame you're in, to be careful of, are the ones with an under H4. Others that are, if you're, well, we don't have any. We did there was one under. I can't find it. But anyway, if there is a situation that doesn't impact the longer time frames, then we mark it with under H4. And what all this requires is that if anything, apart from the monitor ones are up, then we recommend new people, like, for instance, primers, not place any orders 1 hour prior to the news coming out and to get out of them within half an hour of the news coming out. This is because volatility, if there's a surprise that comes out with the news, the volatility could be enough to impact your account. You could lose money, not just your profits, but your actual cold hard cash you've got in your brokerage. So we don't want that to happen. We're really risk averse on this, so we recommend no orders 1 hour prior, get out within half an hour. Standard people and others that are a bit more used to it, and also if you're following Eusebio's global context, can possibly modify that and keep sailing through or reduce your number of scale-ins during that. But for the primer people, until you get used to things, then just follow this to keep your account intact. Regards the high impact ones, these ones are a little different. Also the same reasoning applies, but because these are likely to be big news items when they come out, especially the US, if it changes its mind, could be a big shock to the system. And so what can happen is if you see the high impacts are coming up, then you might like to stay up or wait for them to come out to see if you can catch the movement rather than avoid it. Actually use this information to trade off it. One thing to be aware of, though, is the news comes out, for instance, on the US dollar at 2 p.m., but the press conference comes out at 2:30. And likewise for the yen, it comes out at, they don't actually give the times. Let's go for a better one. And that one doesn't. This one here. The Swiss comes out at 3:30, and then there's a press conference half an hour later at 4 a.m. And the yen does something similar. It will come out at a time. They don't tell you when, they just spring it on you. Eusebio sat up for something like 6 hours one morning waiting for the news because you didn't know when it's coming out, and then made a bunch of money afterwards. And then the news, the press conference comes out afterwards. So what we recommend is wait until the press conference kicks in before you actually do any trading from it, because that could completely change the price movement. The big boys are generally waiting to see. They'll get the numbers, and then they'll wait to see what the whether they're hawkish or dovish about the information that comes out, and then they'll make their play. So you don't want to get caught on that one. So just pays to hang around, wait for the press conference. And if there is a big movement, then you still have to wait for prices to settle down. You don't want to be entering during volatility. And what some of the scrolling parties will do, and there's access to all the old scrolling parties in the forum if you want to go back through it. And I'll invite you to them after your session next week. Those scrolling parties will give you some idea on how to trade through volatility and such. Okay, so having said all that about this week is kind of unusual with all these high impacts kicking in, especially within 2 days. Most of the time, well, yeah, okay. Blah, blah, blah. Let's rephrase this. The news, when it comes out, has got different importance depending on what pairs it kicks in it. So if it's coming up on the euro, the US, or the yen, it doesn't matter what pair you're trading. Like you could be trading the Kiwi dollar or something like that. Any news coming up on the euro, the US, or the yen could make that Aussie Kiwi pair jump, even though there's no euro or US or yen in it. But the opposite kind of applies. If there's a news coming up on one of the smaller currencies, it's unlikely to impact any of the other pairs that don't have those particular currencies in them. So if you're trading the Kiwi and you're in the pound dollar, it's unlikely that the Kiwi news is going to hit the pound dollar or the euro dollar or the pound yen or something like that. But it can happen. So if there's news coming out on the smaller currencies and you're in a pair that doesn't contain those small currencies, still be aware of it. You don't need to not trade. You don't need to not enter, but you can. It can still impact things. So still be careful when the news comes out. And the pound at the moment is sitting halfway between the two. So if there's news coming up on the pound, treat it as if it's a big currency, especially during Brexit when it was just flipping all over the show. It was really crazy times. You didn't want to be around when there was news coming up on the pound and there was just tweets coming out all the time, causing it to jump up and down 40 to 80 pips, just at random. So you had to be really careful of that one. Okay. Any questions so far? So news coming up on the big pairs, big currencies. It doesn't matter what pair you're in. Don't place an order within 1 hour of it coming out, and 1 hour before it comes out, and get out within half an hour before it comes out. And if it's smaller currencies, you don't need to worry about that too much, unless the pair that you're in has that particular currency in it. Okay, Nathan. Where are we? Let me see. It's been a week. I need retraining on this. Where's Nathan? Here we go. I've unmuted you my end, Nathan. Yes, your microphone is green. I
Hello?
can't hear you though. Oh, yep, there you are. Hi.
Hi, is it clear?
Yes, it's good. It's good.
Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. Hi, Eusebio.
Hi, Nathan.
Right. Yeah. So my question would be: so since Wednesday, it would be a big day for the interest rate announcement for, I believe, the U.S., the yen, and the Swiss.
Yep.
And the pound too.
Yeah,
So
everybody.
yeah. So so what can we really expect? Like from what I learned from you, Eusebio. So like say for the U.S. dollar, very likely it would be a 75 basis point.
Yep.
And so the market expectation would be leaning towards that. And because of the CPI data released last week, it went up. So it makes sense for them, for the Fed to increase the rate again. And so if it does come out to be 75 basis point, and if depending on the tone of the Fed, so if it does live up to the market expectation, so may we see the U.S. dollar maybe going the opposite if there's no surprise?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Even though it is an interest rate increase, but
never forget that a news release by itself is not enough to define the possible direction the price will move. You have to combine that with the expectations of the market, and the expectations. So we have seen the U.S. dollar strengthening for several weeks now, with expectations about aggressive intervention by the Fed. But whenever the central bank increases or decreases the interest rate as expected, and if the market has previously priced in that expectation in the market, so we see a reversal. And I think that this is what we will see. If there is indeed a 75 basis point increase, I think that the US dollar will weaken, and the stock market will improve. But if we have a more aggressive, I don't believe, but there is still a possibility. If we see a 1% increase, then the US dollar will strengthen and the stock market will capitulate, in fact. So these are the two possibilities. So this means that it will be a delicate week to trade, especially the US dollar pair, because it is the US dollar which is the most under focus. And so personally, I will wait for the Fed before trading any US dollar pair.
Right. And probably the same thing for other pairs. I'm not too familiar with the Swiss. I believe the interest rate is still negative, same as the yen.
Yeah.
And the pound.
With the yen, we need to be much more careful because there has been last week some announcement after a meeting between the Bank of Japan governor, the Ministry of Finance, and another institution, explaining that they were observing very closely the behavior of the yen, because there could be, if the yen was becoming too weak, there could be an intervention by the central bank. And so we will see if they will make that intervention. But some experts are expressing that even an intervention by the Bank of Japan will not have a big impact in the market. But we never know how the market will react. So it will depend on the market sentiment that day. So we have to be extremely prudent and patient. And so I will wait for the decision of the central bank before considering any possibility in the yen pairs.
Right. And part of my other questions, well, I sent it to Chris. So like since all the countries or nations, we are having like really high inflation.
Yeah.
So, and it's not within the normal norm of the inflation rate.
Yeah.
So since all of them are high and any interest rate, like in the past, I remember you were saying if it is a healthy inflation increase, so any interest rate increase would benefit the currency. But in the present time, because all the inflation rate are really high, so, well, except for Japan. So any rate increase any interest rate increase may not benefit the currency, right? And depending on the tone and depending on the market expectation. So
at least on the long-term perspective. On a short-term perspective, an aggressive increase may profit the currency, but not on the long-term perspective. Why? Because we are in a stagflation and possibly in a deflation phase. And so any increase in the interest rates will not help for the economy to recover. It will worsen the economy. And this is bad. In fact, this is a vicious circle. And on a more long-term perspective, this will be bad for the currency, and it will be extremely bad for the stock market, for example. And so we are living really difficult period, or at least the central banks are trapped in some almost impossible situation. How can they fight the inflation, but without killing the economy? And this is really really difficult, complex.
Right. And I forgot where I was reading an interesting article. I cannot remember exactly what it was, but I think that it was saying it has a chart. I might have to find it next time. Like I think it was saying if the US dollar is weakened. You know what? Let me find that next time, and then I don't want to. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. So
okay, no problem.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Cool. So do we need to go back to your original question, Nathan, that you sent through via email? We can do it after the NewsWatch.
Yeah, if possible, yeah.
Okay, sure. Okay, so plowing on with the NewsWatch then. Hey, and Eusebio just said these are difficult times. He's been saying that ever since 2008. So we had 2008, the crash, then we were coming out of it. Then we had Brexit, then COVID, really strange stuff going on, markets tightening up. It's always really difficult times. You have to know what you're doing when you're trading. So, yep, just saying, it's not easy. It's a job. Okay.
Or if it was easy, there would be no market at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's continually changing, which is a really good reason for keeping up with the scrolling parties, because you get ideas from Eusebio, refreshing yourself with the training, like not just ours, but perhaps other people's as well, if you're not sort of weighted to the max, because you'll be able to see different situations occur, and Eusebio comes up with ideas to help adjust when you're trading in the max, how to adjust to those particular situations. Okay, I don't want to turn this too much into any.
Actually, I was able to find that that chart. Can we have a quick look? It's in the middle of the page.
Okay, hang on.
Yeah, right. I'll go back up to that graph there. Not this. The one above.
What graph?
This one here.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's in the middle of the article, but it's also on the top. Oh, actually, no. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. Go down. Go down a bit more.
Okay.
Because I was looking at the high beta currency, but then I found that chart. Go below. More below. Down.
Oh, this one.
No. Go down. A bit more, almost. Yeah, this one here. So it says if the whole global economy is weak and it should push up the US dollar, so I would because it's a safe haven. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. So as the economy of the US, if it gets weaker and weaker by a possible stagflation, so the US dollar in the longer term should appreciate, right?
Not necessarily, because the fact that the US dollar has been in the past in a difficult period safe havens is changing. There are other larger economies which try to eliminate the supremacy of the US dollar. The US dollar has been a world currency, a reserve currency, a world reserve currency. And there are some attempts for other big economy blocks to stop that supremacy of the US dollar. And so it would not be a surprise to see that the usual behavior of the US dollar as a safe havens will change. And this is really possible, knowing that the situation of USA with its amount of debt, so it's almost an unsolvable problem. And so pay attention when you read such kind of article and analysis. This was true in the past. It will not necessarily be true in the near future, because things are changing.
Right, yeah. I was reading the, like some of the big nations and then the oil countries, they might not want the US dollar to be like for further transaction of their business.
Indeed.
So, okay, yeah.
But this kind of article is still a good text to read in order to get some knowledge, some culture in the financial world. But you have to take into account the big changes which are now apparent around the world. So you need to be more critical with the content you are reading.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. I'll just bring this up. Craig, is it worthwhile showing what you've just put in? Okay. The link that Craig just dropped was this one here. Oops. Yeah, okay. Doesn't quite say what it's about, but okay. Right. So where are we? NewsWatch. I'll get this weeded out and put it onto the website. The top pairs for the week are these ones here. So these are the top pairs for the last 4 weeks, sorted by the dollar range. So the pound dollar was the best mover, and for the past few weeks, these have been the ranges, the maximum ranges. So they've pretty much stabilized now, I guess. They were a bit smaller in the past and kind of much bigger in way past. But still the ranges are quite tight. But these are the top 10 pairs that we recommend that you watch. We also sort of say, okay, if you're finding that these are jumping around too much news, or for some reason they're quite volatile, like during Brexit the pound was just all over the show, then we came up with some pairs that were less stressful to trade, less money but less stressful. And so this week we're picking down to the Kiwi.
Yeah, good choice. Excellent choice.
Right. Okay. So what Eusebio is going to do now is magic trick, where he matches up the news that we've just been through. Let me pull this over with, where is it? With the list of the pairs that I just showed you, and these ones here, and match them up with the news so that you get on each particular day a smaller selection, rather than trying to monitor 10 or more pairs at once, which is really hard to do. We'll chop it down to maybe the top 2 to 4 and maybe 6 or 8, just to keep things a bit more in hand so you're not sort of burning yourself out so much. So the way we do that is we pick anything that's not a monitor or a holiday between 5 p.m. the previous day and 5 p.m. today, and then Eusebio says, works out what pairs are available. So on Sunday there were no pairs under that criteria, and on Monday we had nothing.
Okay. So the choice will be easy, first of all, but pay attention during the London session with the pound pair. But nonetheless, the first choice will be pound US dollar, euro US dollar. Pound US dollar, euro US dollar. Then euro yen, pound yen. Euro yen, pound yen. Euro yen, pound yen, yeah. And then US dollar, yen, euro, Aussie. And you can add the euro kiwi.
Okay. I'll stretch that out a bit. So these will be going up on the website as well. So from Monday, leftovers on Monday, there's nothing after 5 p.m. And on Monday, we've got the Swiss.
The Swiss, okay.
The Euro.
The Euro, and Euro, okay.
CAD.
The CAD, we have no CAD pairs in the top 10.
And the Kiwi.
And the Kiwi, we have just one, okay. So, first choice, let's see. Euro Kiwi, Euro US dollar. Euro Kiwi, Euro US dollar.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Then Euro Yen, Euro Aussie. Euro Yen, Euro Aussie.
Yep.
And then, and this is not common, Swiss Yen, US dollar Swiss, and we can add pound Swiss. So Swiss Yen, US dollar Swiss, pound Swiss. US dollar Swiss and pound Swiss. Yeah, because we have a Swiss news.
Big F. Okay. And leftovers from Tuesday is the Kiwi.
The Kiwi, yeah.
I'm calling the Kiwi twice because we don't know really when it pops up. So it could be the afternoon or it could be the evening. So Tuesday and Wednesday. And then on Wednesday, big news on the US.
The US dollar, which is the big one. So US dollar, US dollar, US dollar, US dollar. Yeah.
And the Kiwi trade balance is pretty close to 5.
Yeah.
Well, it's already in there, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we will have, of course, many of the US dollar pairs. So pound US dollar, euro US dollar.
Oh, one of these. Yep.
Then US dollar yen, US dollar Swiss. US dollar yen, US dollar Swiss. US dollar Swiss.
Yep, thanks.
And then Euro Kiwi, and we can add the Euro Yen.
Aussie won't mind.
So Euro Kiwi, Euro Yen.
Okay, leftovers for Wednesday. We've got, where are we? The Kiwi.
The Kiwi, yeah.
Okay, big one for the yen.
Big one for the yen. So yen here, here. Okay.
Big one for the Swiss.
Big one for the Swiss. Where is the Swiss? Here. Swiss, and Swiss, yeah.
Big one for the pound.
Wow. Yeah. Pound.
Just monitor everything.
Pound. Yeah. No,
US.
not really.
It's all right. US dollar.
US dollar. So US dollar, US dollar, US dollar. Okay. No, not the 10 of them, but the 9 of them.
Oh, good.
Wow.
I was almost right.
This will be difficult. So first choice. Big dilemma. Pound yen, Swiss yen, pound yen, Swiss yen.
Oh, okay.
Pound yen, Swiss yen. Then, let's see, pound Swiss, US dollar yen. Pound Swiss, US dollar yen.
Okay.
And then what do we have? So here, let's see. We have the US dollar Swiss, and the pound US dollar.
Oh, it wasn't that crazy after all, you said, yeah.
Yeah, and you can add the euro yen too.
Okay.
But it should be a crazy day.
Okay, and leftovers from Thursday. You missed out the Kiwi, Eusebio.
Sorry, Chris?
You missed out the Kiwi. The Kiwi was
Yeah.
on Wednesday.
Yeah, but with the less important news, which is the trade balance.
That's blatant countryism. Okay, so leftovers from Thursday, there's nothing. And on Friday, we've got just the CAD.
The CAD, but we have no CAD pairs.
Oh, well.
So same choice as Monday.
Okay. So how to use this is these first two lines here are the pairs on each day to go for. So just monitor these four for Monday. If none of those are sort of you like or working for you, have set themselves up for you, then drop down to these pairs as well. And if nothing there is working, then you'll also have the less stressful ones to go for down here as well. But I think you'll have plenty of opportunity to work from either the first two lines or the third line at least. And then the maxes, you've got extra information coming up shortly with Eusebio's weekly outlook. I think that's it, Eusebio. Is there anything else?
No.
Strangely done. Okay. So unless nobody's got any more questions, that is it for the NewsWatch. And I'll clean this up. Waiting for it to save. Done. Uh-oh. Okay, that's done. Cool.